Well, hello and welcome back to Box Office Chat, where we discuss and break down the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. And joining me as ever is Stephen to discuss all the various films in this delayed weekend of Box Office Chat, because we're always a week behind, Stephen. Such is the nature of this film. We're still discussing films from 2018, but doesn't matter. Without further ado, I'll let you come in with the first film in this week's box office.
We always catch up, John, but
we do catch up.
And it's second week.
Second week,
Mary Poppins returns, and it's grossed 7.4 million over the weekend. Overall, 23.2 million. Now, the reason we do the 2 weeks second week is because last week it wasn't in the top 10, according to IMDb's records anyway. But what's your thoughts on this movie, John? You've went to see this. I've not seen this yet.
I did. I went to see it the other day, Stephen, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. But look, I'm one of the rare people who only recently watched the first Mary Poppins film, so I've not really came at this with any degree of expectancy or whatever. I've not really came in expecting the world or hoping that it will live up to the original. I wasn't brought up with the original film. I wasn't what you'd say a big fan of the Mary Poppins. Can you call it a franchise now, Stephen? It's 2 films.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
So I'm in the rare camp here, where I've come in just fresh and I don't really care. Is it as good as the original? I had seen the original. I watched it a couple of months back. I don't think it's as good as the original, but it's an absolute classic, the original, Stephen, and it's much like we were discussing on the blog rundown last week about the Predator. I'm not putting the original Predator, as good a film as that was, in the same category as the original Mary Poppins, but when you have a outstanding first film and you try to repeat that success with a sequel, it's usually quite difficult to get it right. You're burdened with expectancy, and just fans will continually compare it to the other film. But I still liked it. I thought visually it was very good. Enjoyed the performance of Emily Blunt. I think she knocked it out of the park as Mary Poppins, as you'd expect she would. She's an outstanding actress, Stephen. A couple of the other main players also, the chap who played the young boy from the original one, he's also grown up in this one, Ben Whishaw. He has played the likes of Paddington in the Paddington franchise. He's popped up in, I believe, James Bond. He's a very multifaceted and talented actor, and he done a really good job as well as Jack. I think it's the umbrella that speaks. I liked that came in with a couple of comedy gold moments. And Julie Walters is in there as well, so you've got a really strong British cast in there. They knocked it out of the park. I liked the music as well. I thought the music was okay. You've not got the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious things like that. That's a tongue twister. So it's not got the absolute classics, like memorable things that are going to transcend 50 years. But
well, I was going to say that, John. I think we've had 50 years to absorb, every little detail in that film, and it's going to take a while before the sequel takes off with generations to come. But you're a lot braver than me, John, because I was going to use my daughter as an excuse to go and see Mary Poppins Returns. She was very keen in the trailers just before Christmas when they were hitting the the TV screens, but she's slowly went off it. So I'm trying to kind of coax her back into the frame of mind that she.
Well, I know she loves Mamma Mia. Here we go again, and the original Mamma Mia.
The Great Showman. So once she gets that out of her system, I think I'll go and see that, because I liked the trailers. I thought they were bang on. In regards to its placing, we were talking about this before we came on air in regards to a certain Star Wars film that was moved from the Christmas release back to its original May release because of this release. I'm saying that a lot. But do you think that was the best decision from the studio to move Solo, a Star Wars story, back to the May slot and give Mary Poppins Returns a sort of clear...
breathing space, I don't, as I did say to you, Stephen, I don't think it was the correct decision for Solo. Was it the correct decision for Mary Poppins Returns? I think it probably was. You see what it's done here. It's over 20 million already after 2 weeks in the United Kingdom. What a wide performance. It's doing okay. It's not doing amazing though. $257.9 million. It's got a $130 million production budget, Stephen. When you take into account the amount of promotion this film got, the trailers and just the cuts from the theatres, that hasn't yet made a profit. That is still trying to break even at the moment. I'm sure it will. It's only been out a couple of weeks. But in terms of Solo and Mary Poppins, I felt, Stephen, that looking at it in hindsight, if they had to have moved Solo into December, I think that extra 5 months or 6 months promotion, giving Ron Howard and the people involved in the reshoots more time to maybe polish it up and do extra stuff and give them more breathing space. They would have been able to promote the film as well, Stephen, which also we know now they couldn't do because they were worried about it cannibalising Avengers Infinity War and stuff like that. They weren't putting toys out in stores. I felt that if they'd moved it to December, Solo would have probably done a lot better than what it done. They've gave fans breathing space. And as I did say to you, Stephen, out with the top-heavy summer releases of Avengers Infinity War, Incredibles 2, Deadpool 2, there wasn't a great deal of amazing performances. You can say Mission Impossible Fallout. Out with that, the likes of Skyscraper failed, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom done okay.
Yeah.
I think you could have put Mary Poppins Returns into maybe June, July, and it would have done the exact same as it's doing right now. Aquaman is in there and it's got the same level of calibre of competition, so I don't think it was the right decision. I think they've screwed over the Star Wars brand for as I did say, it's not really a franchise, Mary Poppins, but look,
it's an original character from
it's an original character.
It's all hindsight though, isn't it?
It's all hindsight,
and, you know, it's all history as well. But we'll move on to number 2, John, in its first week, grossing 5.1 million over the weekend, 6.9 overall. It's Bumblebee, another film you went to see. It
was another film I went to see, Stephen. We, of course, were discussing the trailer back in the audio episodic days, so I really enjoyed the trailer. I know it's Transformers. It's a sort of prequel Transformer film, and it got really good word of mouth as well, Stephen. People saying this was a Transformers film that we should have got all along. Obviously, Michael Bay isn't involved in this one. It's Travis Knight has come in. I think this was the guy that directed Kubo and the Two Strings. He's a really good director. He knows how to direct a film of this ilk.
That's his only other directorial credit, John. He's mostly worked in an animation department. So,
and obviously Kubo and the Two Strings was a stop motion film. One of my favourite films that year, and I thought that was really, really good. He got some brilliant performances out of that cast. Obviously it was a voiceover cast, but I really enjoyed the performances of Haley Steinfeld. Even John Cena played an antagonistic figure quite well. He's starting to develop as an actor. A similar vein to what we've seen with the likes of Dwayne Johnson coming from wrestling. Bit wooden at the start, but he's slowly developing. I don't think he'll ever get to a Dwayne Johnson standard, though. I think he's just the gravitas of the man. I like John Cena, though. He's a cool dude. But he done okay in there. There wasn't a huge amount of performances out with that. I mean, I don't think the Bumblebee character spoke very much. I don't know if there even was a voice actor. I presume there probably was. I think he had sort of amnesia. He was involved in a fight at the beginning, a conflict, and he was sent to Earth to try and set up a colony for these antagonistic Transformer characters or whatever. I've never really done much research. I just went in, Stephen, and watched this film and I enjoyed it. But obviously he went to Earth. I think he was involved in a scuffle, had amnesia or whatever, or just Hulk in Infinity War. Infinity War. He kind of went into his shell, and then obviously Haley Steinfeld's character discovers him. They start a bond, and then it explodes into a big conflict at the end of the film, just fighting with these different Transformers. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film, visually really good. Some good performances in there. And it's probably my favourite Transformers film to date. And you look at the performance, £6.8 million. A week out, I mean, that's pretty decent. 5 million over the weekend. I've not looked at its total performance, but I'll have a little bash now, Stephen, if you want to fire anything in.
No, I mean,
$289 million worldwide.
I mean, I remember when we saw the trailer, John, and you know, I'm not really familiar with the Transformer movies, as you know. It's something as far as merchandising and you know, the animated stuff from the 80s I grew up in. I just didn't take to the live action movies, but when I did see this trailer, I didn't. It's so obvious to see that it's got some kind of connection to the Transformer movies, but at the time, I just felt that the trailer was it was well put together. It didn't really give you a lot of the plot, and I liked the visuals in it as well, and I did like the character of Bumblebee as well, although there wasn't too much that it looked like a quite gentle and quite a close sort of you know, character that didn't really reveal too much in the trailer, which they don't really do anyway. But you could see that the relationships bonding in that trailer as well. It's a film I will go and see, John, when I've got a little bit of time. But I did like the look of it, and it's something separate from the usual Transformer movies as well. Yeah, and I think that was a deliberate decision, Stephen, by the filmmakers to separate it from the Transformers franchise, which has also been on a bit of a downward spiral in recent years. But the Haley Steinfeld character, Stephen, you're absolutely right, Charlie. She's a bit of a periphery figure in society, a bit of an outcast, and she bonds with Bumblebee character, who is a bit of an outcast in his own society as well. So it was a match made in heaven. But look, I really enjoyed it. It was a nice little change of pace for the Transformers franchise, and I'm not surprised to see it's coming in at number 2. It deserves it. But we'll move on to number 3, Stephen. It's Aquaman. It's dropped down in place. I don't know why it's saying a place. It was at number 1 last week when we did this show, Stephen. But it's definitely been a shake-up. Get on here. Nobody's telling us about it. But it's down at number 3 now. It's crossed another £2.4 million this weekend, taking its total gross now after 3 weeks to
£1.3 million. Stephen, we've both seen this film. We've both got pretty similar views on this film, that it was okay in the main, visually stunning. Jason Momoa was outstanding in it. I thought he was really good. He just personifies the character. I like the likes of Volko in it and stuff like that, played by the guy I always forget his bloody name, Stephen.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. And obviously Patrick Wilson was a good antagonistic figure. There was a whole host of good characters in there and performances. But I just felt it dragged on a little bit in that final half hour, 45 minutes, when they're obviously going off and trying to find the trident, and then just the climactic battle at the end. And just, the more I look at it, Stephen, I think like the Black Manta character probably shouldn't have been in it. I don't feel like he brought anything.
I don't think
he brought a nice change of pace and quiet moments, but it just bogged down that final part because they had to throw him in there.
I think Patrick Wilson would have been enough.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Dolph Lundgren. But I think James Wan should be, pleased with.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll be talking about its overall performance in regards to DC tomorrow on Movie Burner News, John, because it's really knocked the ball out of the park with its performances.
Oh, yeah.
And as I said, James Wan should be very proud of this movie. A little bit shaky at the start with some of the visuals that we discussed last week, John, in regards to Nicole Kidman's sort of movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it didn't mar the film. The only thing that I would say was a negative for me was that the ending went on a bit too long for me.
Yeah.
Probably about 20 minutes too long, which I think is far too long for a final sort of battle sequence.
Yeah.
But nevertheless,
and it was very crowded.
Yeah, and it's a great film to see in the cinema as well, just for the visuals alone.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the underwater scenes as well last week. You sometimes did forget they were underwater because of the speech.
Yeah.
The only sort of evidence you had was their hair was sort of floating, but it was very SpongeBob.
Some of them had their hair tied back, so you couldn't even do that, Stephen. But look, $940.7 million worldwide. I don't know the production budget, but it must have been northwards of $150 million, $200 million, if not more, Stephen, because this was just a visually CG heavy film, and that's going to eat into the budget. But look, as I did say, I enjoyed the vast majority of the film. I really am a big fan of James Wan. Pleased that he's hit the ball out of the park with this release, and we will be discussing it more on tomorrow's Movie Burner News show, Stephen, so I'm not going into much more. We'll move straight on to number 4, which is another film that I've seen, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and this weekend it's grossed another £1.2 million at the UK box office, taking its total box office at grossing to £13.2 million. After 5 weeks, it's actually up another 21% this week, Stephen. It's shown in an increased amount of theatres, apparently, like 613. I really enjoyed this film as well. I've said it numerous times in previous shows. I liked John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman, the sort of a bond that they had, their characters of Ralph and Vanellope. I liked the visuals, I liked the idea of them going through into the internet realm, and just it had a great balance of superficial goodness for the children and good themes and serious satirical themes being explored underneath for the adults, which is something I think you need to always get right in these animated films. You need to strike that balance between the two. If you can connect to a wide array of demographics, then you've got a hit on your hands, and certainly they have managed to do that with this film, and it's because of all the things I mentioned, the good cast, returning cast, and characters that people love from the first film. And $400 million at the box office as well worldwide, $175 million budget, so it's made a profit already.
I think Phil Johnson and Rich Moore should be very proud of this production, John. 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. On a personal level, I enjoyed the film. I thought it was a great sequel. Probably maybe a couple of years too late for me though. When Wreck-It Ralph came out, which I still prefer the original, which I think it was just it just caught me by surprise, because I never expected it to be as good as it was. When naturally when a sequel comes out, the expectation levels are higher. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a great production. As you said, the cast, the likes of John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, etc., all coming back for this sequel. You know what you're going to get with them anyway. They're all got these distinctive voices, and it was a great story as well. I don't know if there's any talks about a second sequel in the works or not, but I think you probably will get one somewhere down the line.
Well, they certainly left the door open, Steve, and just obviously Vanellope getting off and doing her own thing.
Exactly.
And a new game, which says you get more excitement for her, and she's off doing her thing. Ralph returns to the old arcade and he's doing his thing. Certainly there's more scope for the further adventures with these two characters going forward. Certainly Ralph and Vanellope maybe going off and doing separate things. There's just a whole host of different concepts you could do with these characters in this world. And I'd be delighted to see it. But we will move on, Stephen, to number 5 in this week's box office in the United Kingdom. It's SpiderMan Into the Spider-Verse, grossed another £1 million at the weekend, taking its total gross now to just £5.9 million. I say just because that's quite disappointing, Stephen. It's down a couple of places this week, and it's actually down theatres as well. It's down 18 theatres, only showing in 507. Don't know what's going on there, because I really enjoyed this film. This is probably my best animated film of 2018.
John, I think this is when this is the difference between the US and the UK when it comes to comic books.
Yeah, there is
as a whole, because the UK cinema goers will turn out for live action because of the buzz. Into the Spider-Verse was very much catered for comic book fans alike, and people who are familiar with the likes of Miles Morales. You're going to get bigger audiences naturally in a larger populated country like the US to the UK. That's one of the reasons I think it's, to me, that I think that's very disappointing. I just don't think animation in this country is really took off the way it has in the United States, John. I've watched a number of DC films over the last 12 months or so. I'm going through them at the moment. I always felt that DC did them better than Marvel, but in this case I think Marvel can be proud of this film. It was such a breath of fresh air for the character as well, for Peter Parker and the other version of Peter Parker as well, and Miles Morales. It was good to see him getting, although it's not live action, at least we're getting the story and the character put out to the public domain now, and I don't think it'll be long before we see a Miles Morales live action film.
I hope not. I hope I says before, I think this is Sony testing the water, Stephen, to maybe catapult this character into their Spider-Verse, with obviously Peter Parker being played by Tom Holland in the MCU. This is a way where we can have our cake and eat it. We can have both Spider-Man characters played with different, obviously, alter egos in each universe. I thought Shameik Moore was absolutely outstanding as Miles Morales, incidentally. Just a whole host of characters within that were just perfectly cast, and just they lended their voices amazingly. The likes of Jake Johnson, as I spoke about, Peter B. Parker, he was probably my favourite out of the Peter Parker characters. But you've got the likes of Hayley Steinfeld again, an incredible young actress, Mahershala Ali, and Zoe Kravitz, and the list really goes on. Nicolas Cage in there as well, Lee Schreiber. So it was a fantastic cast. Brilliant, unique little story that obviously fragmented all these alternate universes, and just the way they brought all of these characters in as mentor figures. As someone that's not read a great deal of Spider-Man comics, but he's always been my favourite comic book character, it was really interesting to see all of these different historical interpretations of the character. Loved the visuals, it's just incredible. If this film is, I don't know if it's too late for it to get recognised in the Oscars, Stephen, but this is just the most visually stunning animated film I've seen in years upon years upon years. Just what they've done with it, the utilising of a first-person camera with all the CG elements, crafting 5 different versions of the film. It's just incredible what they've managed to do with this film. And look, worldwide box office performance, $275.3 million, off of a $90 million budget. It isn't really doing well that well in the United States either. $133 million is still good. It's like a 50-50 split between that and all the other international territories. But this is a film that's very much surviving on word of mouth at the moment, positive word of mouth. So here's hoping that it continues to build upon that positive word of mouth, because it deserves it, Stephen.
I think so. I think it's a good start for Marvel as an animation studio as well. What was it? 180 animators they used for this film. 180
animators,
unbelievable,
astounding.
And I think this is the way forward for these these more lesser characters. In the universe, but we'll move on, John, to the.
It's not as good a word of mouth.
Number 6 this week is Holmes and Watson. It's in its first week, John. Now we're quite lucky in this sense that a lot of movies that come out in the US we have to wait a few weeks, so we get all the reviews, courtesy of the internet before we it hits the screens over here.
I did not need any reviews.
It's actually grossed 900,000 over the weekend, grossing 1.4 million. I'm actually quite disappointed to see this, John, because the reason is because the 2 lead actors in this film, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, who I love. I thought they were amazing in Step Brothers. I think this is their first movie since Step Brothers, surprisingly. They have to do more. Maybe not in this genre, but it's very disappointing. Holmes and Watson Is it because of their sort of choice of characters? We know that Robert Downey Jr. already covers and Jude Law and in the BBC series. So it's been done to death, very much like Robin Hood, which we were talking about a few weeks ago, and that was in the top 10. Didn't last long. I don't see this lasting in the top 10 that long either. Yeah,
I just don't think the character, Stephen, of Sherlock Holmes and obviously
Dr. Watson,
Dr. Watson, I don't think the story and the characters lends well to sort of a slapstick comedy, sort of a genre, which is clear. What we're getting here, Stephen, this is a clear sort of a slapstick comedy film, and it doesn't lend itself well to that story at all. We've seen Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law do it in the films. There was a degree of comedy in there. They were obviously like cross-dressing and stuff like that on the train to escape. We've seen that comedy. It wasn't slapstick, it was a different kind of a comedy, mixing into lighten the tone and give some comedic levity, and a more serious sort of a
bit like what the MCU do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And then obviously
they sort of overtake the tone of the film. You know,
exactly. And the BBC one's just a series, drama-driven like TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. This was never going to be a success. I seen the trailer; it was terrible. The jokes look 10 years old. It just doesn't work, and it's a complete misuse of these two great comedic actors. You see them off screen, you see them in the likes of Jimmy Fallon and stuff like that. Perfect chemistry off the screen as well, and just to butcher the two of them appearing in a film together with this absolute abomination is just, it's not on for me. I've not seen it, so I may be wrong. It may be a sleeper, and maybe I would love it, Stephen, but I highly doubt it. It's the only film I've not seen in this week's top 10. I don't think I've got any intentions of going to see it. $35.5 million incidentally worldwide, off of a $42 million budget. It's not made a profit. I don't think it's going to make a profit. And I'm going to move on to the next film, Stephen, which is Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, number 7 this week. Still in there, £743,000 it's grossed this weekend. A drop of 60.5%, taking its total UK box office grossing to £26.6 million after 8 weeks, Stephen.
This isn't going to survive in the top 10 much longer, I don't think. It's past the festive period now, which this was obviously aimed at. Listen, it's done great considering what it is. It's another iteration of the classic Doctor Seuss story. We've already seen the original. We then saw the Jim Carrey one about, what was it, 19 years ago now.
Yeah,
so I can't believe that's that long. It doesn't seem.
I'm actually crying here, Stephen. It's nothing to do with the Grinch.
But director Yarrow Chesney and Scott Mosier, I think they can be very pleased with its performance. I know it was getting 6.4 out of 10, which is slightly average. But I thought it was actually a little bit better than that, to be fair. That's what I got out of it. I
enjoyed it.
Yeah, my daughter enjoyed it as well, John.
Yeah.
I thought the visuals were great. Benedict Cumberbatch again. I thought he should do more, voice work. Probably not working with the penguins, but certainly when it comes to animations like this, it's certainly up his street. Yeah, and it's crossed just under $500 million worldwide, Stephen. So it's certainly a success. I enjoyed it. It was clean. It was nice visually. Benedict Cumberbatch, very much his show. He led the film with absolute ease. Yeah. He's got a great voice for it, and look, I'm glad to see it's done well, and it deserves it. It's a great new interpretation of the classic story. But I'll move on, Stephen, because I've not got much more to add. We've done it to the death. To another film which we've also done to the death, Bohemian Rhapsody, grossing £647,000 this weekend, taking its total gross now to a whopping £48.1 million. It's a very successful film, Stephen. It says it ad nauseum. It's done well all over the world, and that's because of Queen and Freddie Mercury, just the gravitas of a man. I've not got much more to say on the movie, John. What you are seeing now on YouTube is comparison videos. I don't know if you've seen any of these. I've not. In regards to the Live Aid footage. Yeah. There's a lot of this going on now. Certainly a lot of these videos are going to be copyrighted. Yep. We know about that, Stephen. So, listen, it's really just to highlight the performance of Rami Malek as well as Freddie Mercury, how much he resembled. I can't really say sounded in the singing because it was another chap who was doing singing. Yeah, but it was Martel, I think. Yeah, certainly his speech, his lines were delivered perfectly. If you've ever seen any interviews with the real Freddie Mercury, the way he's such a distinct voice. I wouldn't say he's exactly. he's posh or anything like that. He just had a mannerism about him, you know, that was
just a very unique, polite man, yeah.
You know, and obviously from his, was it Turkish origins?
I think it was, yeah. I think so, yeah.
Certainly he had a way of saying things and stuff like that. But these comparison videos are something else. You've got to check these out.
Attention to details, incredible, Steve. Just the positioning of cups and stuff like that.
Pepsi cans.
Pepsi cans, yeah.
On the piano, yeah. But
I'm a Coca-Cola man.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought the film was great. I think in hindsight now, I think the likes of Brian May and Roger Taylor, etc., really did make the right decision, and you know, putting Rami Malek into those shoes instead of your man
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes, it would have been interesting to see. Maybe somewhere down the line we might see an independent, non-rated Queen, you know, biopic, or even a Freddie Mercury one that's away from Queen.
That's it.
Might see, but certainly in this case, I think they did the right thing. I thought it was great just to bring Queen back into the sort of limelight for a little while, reintroduce them to a new generation, and it's certainly served its purpose.
Stephen, I've seen and I've read all about Freddie Mercury and the personal tragedy of the man's life. I don't need to see it in a film. No. I'm just glad to have seen a celebration of him and the band. But I'll move on to number 9. It's Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. Yeah, it's grossed £551,000 this weekend, up 4.6% incredibly, but down 71 theatres to 341. It's now sitting at £32.6 million this week, not 46 like I said last week. I'm reading it off of a bigger screen now, Stephen, so we're not making any mistakes this time, thank God. I've said it time and again, this is a connector film. It's not done anything new really, other than really introduce a whole host of new characters to join the ones we loved from the first film. Well, I say love, some people hated the first film, I didn't. I enjoyed it. I like Newt Scamander, played by, I forget his bloody name, Stephen, terrible. Absolutely terrible, doesn't matter what his name is. He won an Oscar for The Theory of Everything.
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne, that's the one. And obviously the likes of Kowalski, Johnny Depp's Grindelwald character, and it introduced the likes of Jude Law's Dumbledore. So I'm really pleased to see that they're going to expand this out. They've expanded it out with this film. It's connected the first film into the wider world, and then going forward we'll see obviously them going down some of the story arcs that have been set up going forward, like the Credence Barebones, Dumbledore.
Listen, John, I'll quickly just say this before we move on to the last one. Come back in 5 years' time and people might have a different opinion on this film.
Yeah. Once we see where they go with Credence Barebones and Scamander and Grindelwald and explore that dynamic with him and Dumbledore, then we'll see. Don't judge it. It's done what it had to do. But we'll move on, Stephen, because I've done what I've had to do there. To the final film in this week's box office chat, and it's Creed 2. It's now grossed another £411,000 this weekend, taking its total gross to £9 million at the box office. I had to read that twice here because I can't believe it's only grossed £9 million. It's down 67 theatres and it's dropping percentage-wise weekend to weekend, so the signs are ominous for this one. One of my favourite films from 2018, Stephen. Very surprised to see it's not even broke £10 million. What is wrong with people? I suppose, as you say, is that disconnect between the United States and the United Kingdom. People here are clearly finished with a Rocky expanded franchise. Maybe they didn't connect with Adonis Creed or Michael B. Jordan's interpretation of the character. I don't know why, because I thought it was outstanding. In many ways they're doing things with this film and this new franchise that were never even explored in the Rocky franchise. Quieter, more sombre moments, delicate moments, showing that the guy was human, that he was fallible, obviously peeing blood, something you would never have seen the Sylvester Stallone Rocky Balboa character doing. So I liked it, I thought it was great.
I liked
great mix of quiet and bombastic fight scenes and stuff like that. I like that word bombastic, clearly. But look, I enjoyed it and I'm really disappointed it's not done better.
I've got nothing more to add.
Nothing more to add.
It was one of the best films of 2018.
Yeah, absolutely was. But Stephen, £144.6 million dollars worldwide off of a $50 million budget. So it's just about made a profit, but not outstanding by any means. But anyway, guys, that just wraps up this episode of Box Office Chat, where we do break down and discuss the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. We'd just like to thank you for watching this once again. If you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe, like the video, comment below, and we'll be back tomorrow with Movie Burner News.